In that same press conference there, they quoted tweets from Michael Flynn off a fake account on Twitter. Very dangerous stuff. They later apologized and pulled that back. Your question, sir? What's important about this story?
There are a couple of things. To the extent they're criminal allegations, Congress doesn't have a role in that. That's up to the executive branch, the FBI, and the Department of Justice. There may or may not be a congressional injury here. So the House Intel Committee, on which I now serve, Chairman Nunes, has been looking into Russia for months and months and months. So the Democrats may be new to this investigation, but the Republicans in the House, as it relates to Russia and their attempts to interfere in our elections, we're not new to it.
Mitch McConnell said this morning, we know they were messing around, meaning the Russians. We don't know if it had an impact on our election. Where are you on that statement, sir?
The more information, the better. The more evidence, the better. But think back to yesterday, Bill. One of my Democrat colleagues said he wants public hearings on classified information. Whenever someone says they want public hearings about a classified matter, you just know they're not serious. So Congress is capable of investigating. In fact, we did it in the committee I was on. 99 out of our 100 interviews were done in private. The Democrats want this to be a public story. They're much more interested in the politics of it than they are actually finding out what happened.
But I think this is a critical component to the story about what Mitch McConnell addressed there. Don't know if the Russians had any impact on the outcome of the election. Do you concur with that, or do you have other information now, sir, that would suggest otherwise?
Well, it depends on how you frame the question. Was there an attempt to inject themselves in our election? That's the first question. Number two, was it successful? Number three, did it have any impact on the outcome? So those are separate lines of inquiry, each of which are appropriate, but you can't blur the lines and just say one. You got to look at all three of them, and those are three distinct lines of inquiry from my vantage point.
Got it. But how do you answer the critical one about the election involvement right now, based on what you may or may not know? This is very important to nail this down. What do you understand?
You're talking about whether or not it actually had an impact, or whether or not there was an effort to...
The former.
Whether or not it had an impact, I don't think anyone knows that. I've seen no evidence of it, and what I have seen in a SCIF, which are classified materials, do not support the allegation that they successfully impacted the outcome of the election.
So that would match with what the New York Times is reporting that we talked about in our last segment here. More questions now. Who's behind these leaks?
No idea, Bill. I don't like unauthorized disclosures. I mean, the word leak is such a benign term. It's an unauthorized disclosure, which may be illegal. I don't have any idea who it is. I can tell you there is an insatiable appetite for leaks in this town, both on the receiving end and on the giving end. You didn't hear me talking about WikiLeaks because that was an unauthorized hack. I'm old school. I don't think you ought to disclose things that are intended to be kept confidential or classified.
Would Ben Rhodes be a person you would consider, who worked in the Obama White House for 8 years?
It would not be fair to Mr. Rhodes or anyone else for me to throw out a name. I have no idea who did it. I think it's a separate inquiry from the substance of the leak. But when you have a classified transcript that makes its way into the public domain, I know the care that the intelligence community, for the most part, takes to protect classified information. The fact that you would leak it to the media is, in some instances, a crime. It's not just a leak, it's a crime.
Well, the reason I mentioned Mr. Rhodes is because others have put his name on the table in the past 24 hours. And you specifically, based on your Benghazi committee investigation, had direct contact with him. So again, are there individuals who are either holdovers from the previous administration or who have left as a result of the new administration, who would have contacts with the intelligence community and would have direct contact with leading members of the DNC, sir?
There are dozens of people who would have access to this information, but it's not fair to them for me to guess whether it's Ben Rhodes. I heard a DOJ employee's name mentioned. It's just it's not fair for me to name someone's name when I have no evidentiary support for even naming their name.
Let's leave that there for the moment. Will there be a select committee or not? Mitch McConnell seems to suggest that the Senate Intelligence Committee can handle this on their own. Where are you on that now?
We have a select committee. It's called the House Intelligence Committee. It is selected by the Speaker himself. It is a highly coveted committee. And he and the minority leader handpicked the people to be on that committee. So it's already select.
Sir, thank you for your time. I can tell the PA system is working there on Capitol Hill. Thanks for fighting through that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And your patience. You bet. Trey Gowdy on the Hill. More to come on this, sir.
Some of you I've read about on the covers of business magazines. And it's great to have you here. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to host all of you at the White House. The CEOs, you're some of the great CEOs of our country and the biggest in the retail industry, which is very important to the country. It's supporting millions and millions of jobs. Really one of the great job producers. Probably, would you say, almost number one? Pretty close, right? It is number one. There's a lot of confidence in our economy right now. There's a great confidence level. You've been seeing that in the stock market. You've been seeing that in businesses. And you've been seeing that in every chart that's taken. Is evidenced also by the jobs report that just came out for January, 227,000 jobs added. My administration remains very focused on the issues that will encourage economic growth. That's what we're all about. We have a lot of plants moving back into various states, including the state of Ohio, the state of Michigan, Pennsylvania. We have a lot of companies moving back in, coming back into the country, bringing the jobs with them. We're cutting regulations, big league. We are really cutting them by massive amounts. The auto industry just left a week ago. They were here in the same room, and they are very happy with what we're doing, and everyone is. I think just about everyone. We have the financial industry. We're having a lot of the different industries in, and we're cutting regulations in just about every industry. In fact, I can't think of any that we're not. If I do, we have a major story, okay? Because I think just every industry we're cutting, some more than others. You have a very, very big regulatory problem, and we're going to take care of that because I want more jobs. I'm doing it because we want more jobs. As you know, the overregulation costs our economy an estimated $2 trillion a year, which is incredible. $2 trillion, and it costs your businesses a lot of money, tremendous amounts of money and time. I've taken executive action to create a permanent structure of regulatory reduction by creating one and one. So basically, for every one regulation, two are out. So we knock out two. So we put in one, but to put in one, you have to knock out two. That's the least of it, but it's an important symbol. In addition to reducing government regulations, we'll also reform our tax code to help middle-income families and American businesses grow and thrive. Tax reform is one of the best opportunities to really impact our economy. So we're doing a massive tax plan. It's coming along really well. It'll be submitted in the not-too-distant future, and it will be not only good and simpler, it'll be, you're talking about big numbers of saving. And we're talking also middle income and very much for business. And the business is for middle income because you're going to employ a lot of people. So we hope you're going to do that. We're going to provide tax relief for families. We're going to simplify very greatly the tax code. It's too complicated. We're going to bring down the number of alternatives, and I think it's going to be just a much simpler tax code. In fact, H&R Block probably won't be too happy. That's one business that might not be happy with what we're doing. Other than H&R Block, I think people are going to love it. We're going to lower the rates very, very substantially for virtually everybody in every category, including personal and business. And I just want to go around the room. I'd like you to introduce yourself, and then I'll tell you a little bit more, and you're going to tell me what you're looking for. But we want jobs. We want jobs brought back to the country. We want them brought back fast. We want you to expand your stores, and you'll tell me why you will or why you won't. And if you tell me why you won't, we'll work on you a little bit, right? Vice President Mike Pence. So go ahead.
All right. I'm Jill Salto. I'm with Joanne Fabric and Craft Stores.
Good. Good.
Art Peck with The Gap.
Good. Very good.
Eventually with Best Buy.
Good. Great stuff.
I'm Bill Rhodes with AutoZone.
Ryan Cornell with Target.
Target, right?
Stefano Pessina, Walgreens Bookseller.
Greg Sanford with Tractor Supply.
Yes.
Marvin Ellison with JC
I read a good report on you. Good job.
Thank you.
So maybe we go around the room a little bit. I guess we can let the press go now, right? Do you suggest that? Go ahead. Thank you all very much. We all talked about. Millions of poor, disadvantaged students are trapped in failing schools, and this crisis